Welcome to Design Your Destiny, your podcast for tapping into the power of your subconscious mind. In this next few minutes, allow me to show you how to tap into that power so that you can create success with ease, form deeper connections, and have greater presence in your relationships, and most importantly, find peace within yourself. My name is Penny Chason, and I'm your host. Hey, joyful souls, it's Penny here, and I literally just walked into my office, turned on the light, sat down, fired up the computer, and hit record because I have something that I want to share with you, and I wanted to share it with you before it slipped from me. Sometimes these things come so quickly. And I want to talk to you about becoming who you want to be, becoming the person you're meant to be, creating the life that you desire, designing that life. This came to me as I was literally driving down the hill to pull into the office. And it's so true, but the way that it came to me seems pretty profound. And I feel that this is going to be a message that hits someone right where they need it to get moving in creating the life that you want. And that message is you cannot be who you want to be and be who you are today at the same time. You've heard me talk about identity before and creating a new identity. When we create a new identity, that means we have to let go of the old identity because the way that we think, the way that we act, the decisions that we make, the assumptions that we draw, our judgments, the things that have served us up until where we are today are not going to serve us if we are stepping into something that is different from where we are. You know, it's interesting. I received a message this morning on Facebook from someone who is making the same move that I made 2 years ago. They are leaving one form of a healing profession that is structured, and they too are moving into the space of using their intuitive gifts to just create this opportunity for themselves to create expansion in the world by making other people's lives better, whatever that looks like for them. I didn't ask the details, but most definitely the Penny who gave her notice and walked away from anesthesia training was not the same Penny that went into anesthesia training. She's not the same Penny who got certified. She sure as hell wasn't the same Penny who decided to sign on at a trauma hospital and actually looked forward to the challenge. Today, I am not the same Penny that I was just 3 months ago. And it's because as I choose where I want my life to go, as I choose how I want to create expansion for others, as I choose where it is that I want to go with my life as I create that for others, what it looks like for me, what it looks like for my family, what it looks like for the people I hire, and how I support them so that they have a better life. I have to change who I'm being. And it's like walking up a set of stairs. And with each step, you are either adding something to who you are, or you're leaving behind something that you are not. I think sometimes, actually I don't think, I know, that a lot of times what holds us back is we are attached to some of our old ways of thinking, and we are attached to some of our old ways of being. Now, that attachment could be out of pure comfort, or That attachment could be because somewhere deep inside of us, we believe that is who we are. And our desire to hold on to what's comfortable and familiar, and this piece of us that for whatever reason, and for each and every one of us, that reason can be different. The reason that we hold on to this aspect of our personality or identity that we need to let go is actually holding us back. If you try to stand on both sides of a barbed wire fence, it's pretty darn uncomfortable. Straddling a fence is not going to get you anywhere. When you straddle a fence, it's hard to move quickly in either direction. And I know that's kind of an odd metaphor, but I'm a country girl, grew up on a farm, and I have crawled through and crossed many barbed wire fences in my day. And you have to be very careful or you're going to get hurt, scraped, scratched, cut. There's nothing worse than getting stuck on a barbed wire fence, by the way, too. I've been there, done that. But it's an apt metaphor for what happens when we're trying to do both. Because if we move too far in either direction, we find ourselves in an uncomfortable position. And I wonder what it's going to take for you to make the decision to let go of what did serve you in the past, and you can have appreciation for it. Just because you're leaving behind a part of your past, it doesn't mean that you don't appreciate it. It doesn't mean that you resent it. But I wonder what it's going to take for you to let that go so that your future can unfold the way that you like it. There's a saying that we become the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And I recognize that I don't spend nearly as much time with a lot of my friends and family. And it's not that I don't want to be with them, but for a good part of the time, it's important to me to surround myself with people who are connected to and understand the challenges, the wins, the interesting things that come up as someone who is building and creating a business. And you might be thinking, well, geez, Penny, you've been doing this for a while. What do you mean building and creating? Well, a business is a living, breathing thing, just like we are. You have to adapt to the environment. You have to change. You have to meet the needs of the people you work with. Sometimes when you make those moves, they go quite well, and sometimes you might make a move and there's a chance it might fall flat. It's all trial and error, just like anything else. When you're making a step into where you want to be, sometimes you have to surround yourself with people doing similar things so that you have someone that you can connect with and have those conversations with in a way that supports you. I haven't left my family behind, but I don't sit around and have conversations where there's gossip about the neighbors or, just lament what's going on in the world and the news and just general stuff. I observe the news from time to time. I don't watch it often. I kind of keep a little bit of tabs on the headlines. I love to spend time with my family, but I'm not going to go into the just general, mundane, low vibration, typically, in this day and age with what's going on in the world, negative conversation. Because then that brings me down and brings me out of being able to create expansion for others. So what is the purpose in telling you this? You don't have to completely leave everything behind to become who you want to be. I still spend time with my family. still do things with them, just not to the degree that I did before. And it doesn't mean that I love them any less. It doesn't mean that I value them any less. I just recognize that it's more important for the direction I'm going to make sure I also have people in my circle who understand me and support me, and that either I can aspire to be where they are or they can grow with me. So it doesn't matter if you're an artist, if you're an employee of someone else, if you're starting your own business, if maybe you're older, and when I say older, like 50s, my age, 50s, 60s, and you're starting to think about, okay, what do I want the last couple of decades of my perhaps professional life to look, right? Some people want to work right up until they're 70 or 80. Some people want to begin traveling the world when they're 60. They want to spend all of their time visiting their children and their grandchildren. So what does that look like for you? And, what are some of the things that you have to let go of so you can step into the person that creates that for yourself? That's what it comes down to. The last anesthesia shift that I worked at a local hospital, when they asked me, they're like, "Oh, so you're still going to pick up shifts here?" And I'm like, "No, I'm done. I'm truly finished with anesthesia." And I said, "This is just not who I am anymore." And the comment was something along the lines basically of, could I really support myself doing hypnosis, right? For people who've never owned a business and never stepped into attempting to create that, it's a challenge for them to wrap their mind around it. And I recognize that, and I have compassion for that, because I don't want to go off down another rabbit hole here, because I want to wrap this up. Maybe I'll talk about it in another episode. We can allow ourselves to be limited by other people's beliefs if we're not careful. But when I told them that I was doing quite well, and that's why I was able to step away from anesthesia, the comment that was made to me was, "Don't forget us little people." And, part of me wanted to be stung by that. But the other part of me knew that above all else, I have compassion for people. I have love for people. And I believe that each and every person listening to this podcast, each and every person out there, that given the opportunity and the belief in themselves, could create exactly what I have created and continue to create. This is not something that's unique to me. It's not some little secret treasure chest that I found the key and I unlocked and boom, there it was. Each and every one of us have this opportunity. And I am not going to change. I might change my identity, but at my core, that loving, compassionate person who believes that we're all good enough exactly as we are, and that we all have the ability, if we choose to allow ourselves to see the opportunities. She's still here, and she's not going anywhere. I feel that once you truly know inside of yourself that your core values who you are, that never has to change as you create and step into who you want to be. That very core of who you are stays the same so long as you choose to allow it to stay the same. It's the outer layers that we have to step out of and step into something new. If you enjoyed today's episode, I ask that you please share this episode with your friends, with your family. Share it on social media. I appreciate all of the love that you all show me in my direct messages, via email when you reply back to me and let me know what resonated with you the most. So please share this, and I will be back with you next week. Bye now. Thank you for listening today. If you've enjoyed this episode of Design Your Destiny, I would appreciate it if you would head over to iTunes and leave a positive review. When you leave a positive review, it's like podcast currency, and we can increase our reach and get the message to even more people that they, just like you, have the ability to design their destiny. And remember, subscribe on your favorite podcast platform.